Hello everyone and welcome to the decks of the weekend. As always, every Monday I go over the decks that caught my attention the most of the most relevant format at the moment. As always, we're gonna start with Modern. I played this deck this morning, so expect it to go line in the next days on my channel. This deck came second, split the final actually, it didn't came second in one of the challenges this past weekend, and it is Blue-White Control. A lot of people love Blue-White Control, so whenever this deck does well, it's always very interesting. And this list in particular, it's something different. We're playing with Preordain, a card that was added to Modern not that long ago, and maybe still unexplored in some of the blue decks that you can play this card in. As always, we have Lurer's Reveal. Now, this is a little bit hidden down here, but yeah. So, this has the Days Undoing Narset one. Some other lists are now playing that particular combo. A card I've missed in this deck was Force of Negation. I feel like in the Narset, the One Ring deck, I think it plays well to protect your combo. But yeah, definitely a good one. You even have a second one in the sideboard for the unfair matchup. But this is definitely a deck that you can maybe better than the Omnat version. You know, the white spells are great, ending Leyline, Binding, Solitude, and you really don't need the Ren and 6 Omnath to be a functional deck anymore. That Up the Beanstalk isn't there. Of course, you have the One Ring, you have the Fairy, so a lot of powerful cards. So I remember some list that I was playing in the past had Reprieve over Counterspell. And I mean, I've got definitely hit by some uncounterable spell in this league, so Reprieve would have been nice, but and also some other times you have like the Plains or the Garbage Sanitarium. So it definitely is very interesting, and I look forward to see if this weekend in Ghent there will be any control deck once these like Control Master, the Guillaume Wafotapa of the world showing up at the RC in Lille this not in Lille, sorry, RC in Ghent this weekend. I'll be leaving to go there on Friday, probably playing Blue-Red Murktide, maybe Splashing Quest and Druid. I still have to test this few days, but yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Overall, I'm excited to be playing a competitive Modern tournament since this is the format I focus on the most, so it will be fun to see all the all those hours spent making content maybe paying off and get a PT qualification, although it'll be very difficult. I expect the RC in Ghent to be over 700 people, maybe more. Only 24 is a lot, so it'll be tough. But nonetheless, it'll be exciting. And if you're there, if you'll come to Ghent this weekend for the European RC, make sure to say hello. Make sure to, if you want, of course, you can do whatever you want, but don't feel shy. I'm always happy to greet you all over there. So yeah, expect to see a video with this deck. And yeah, if you are a Blue-Eye Control player or love the strategy and feel like there's not too many results out there, I just wanted to tell you that this deck split a challenge and it is definitely a viable choice in the current Modern metagame. Let's go over to Legacy. Last week I didn't do Legacy. I did Pauper instead, so this time I'm gonna focus on Legacy because there was the Legacy Showcase. I didn't do it as this Sunday I had a family lunch, and so I couldn't play, but it was cool to see a deck of dear to my heart, which is a great for anime deck, top 8ing the event with Ogak instead of Murktide. Now this is definitely a new take on the archetype. Very similar deck with, Grief, Force, Daze, Reanimate, but instead of Murktide Regent, you have Ogak, Arisen Necropolis. And you also have Stitch of Supplier as a fuel for Ogak, and of course you have Orcish Bowmaster as a way to get the 2 black creature to convoke. You even have Dried Arbor you can fetch with Misty or Verdant, and it's gonna give you a green creature to be able to convoke the Ogak. Now this is a very interesting deck. I actually look forward to try this deck out in the next days, maybe after the European in Ghent. I'll be able to focus more on on content and on legacy, but this is definitely something I didn't expect to see, and super strange to me to see. Honestly, I don't even think that anyone thought about it. And it may be that, Ogak is better than Murktide as it doesn't suffer Pyroblast, it doesn't suffer Force, so Full could just recast it. But, obviously it is a little bit harder to cast as you need the... I mean, it's a little bit harder to cast. You need the creature in play. People not always have you leave you with 2 creatures in play, but whenever you resolve this, it doesn't get chomped or traded. It just trample, and again, it comes back from the graveyard. So it's definitely a super cool innovation, and I'm glad that you still have players who innovate like that. The event was won by Timur Delver, by the way, by Baku. He's dominating those legacy big events. One of the best player in the world for sure with Timur Delver. Let's go over to Standard. Again, there is the Standard RC season, and if you're watching this series, it's likely that you're a competitive player, so you want to know a little bit more about Standard. And there's this new deck that you might have seen or heard, but it's actually super strange. We've talked a little bit about it on the podcast last week, and we'll certainly be talking about more. So, as always, if you want to hear more about Standard, follow the Competitive Magic with the Carnies. That's the podcast of me, Javier, and Anthony Lee. And, Standard is definitely a big part of that, as it is the regional championship format at the moment. So this deck was made by CFT Sock, and 2 people played it to win RC in America. I saw it on Twitter, even more than 2, at least 2, but probably more. One of them was Dominic RV. And this deck has a lot of strange things going on. So let's begin by saying it's a Legends deck. So you have basically only Legends and then some spells that cut down and go for the throat. And you have Relic of the Legends, which is a mana dork, but also you tap it on top legendary creature you control and you add mana of any color. So it gives basically like haste to your Legends that become old mana dorks. You have a lot of combo. I heard there's an infinite combo. Remember Javier mentioning that? I think it was something with Ludovic, but anyway, you have here Irona plus Inti, and this is something that I've never thought of, but like basically just draw this card. Inti is very good in Pioneer with, Smuggler's Copters, and it's just a good card overall because you not only works when you tap, but also when you just discard a card. And Rona, well, it loots, so you can get value there. Ludovic has a lot of text, and in particular, this art is weird, but it can become a copy of something. And then you have a lot of text on these cards, but overall, you make a lot of value with all these things. You have Titania, which whenever 1 or more lands are put in your graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 lands, and of course, you have a lot of draw discard effect, so you gain 2 lands over and over. Then you have just overall good cards like Glissa the Sainslayer. Zlogurk is another way to make your lands work. Whenever a land is put into your graveyard from anywhere, you put a counter, you remove 3 counters, and you return it to your hand, and then when it leaves the battlefield, you can return 3 lands, so you get that like kind of card advantage. And your lands, well, you have 29 lands, you have 4 Otawara, 4 Takenuma, 2 Sokenzan, 1 Boseiju, so your lands are also spells. We've heard about this, Legends things for a while in Modern, in Pauper, ever since this land cycle is around, and you have Place of Heroes, which I haven't mentioned, but it's super important for a deck like this to work, because what you do is you fixes your mana and it gives it protection. Super good. And then you have just some more Legends cards overall. Again, I heard there's a loop. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it myself, but stay tuned and listen to the Carnies. I'm sure Anthony will tell me. But overall, this was definitely an interesting deck that you might have, again, heard, or just, you wanted to see a list. So here it is for you, the list from this crazy deck brewer, CFT Sock, when he always has this, like, they always have this like crazy ideas about usually 4 colors. Usually there's some like obscure combo, but overall card advantage. Remember I did that with Ratadabrik in the past, and this is the newer version. So yeah, props to them. There's some more cards in the sideboard you rarely see, like Hura, the Boundless Sky, and you have these Jace, which are mainly here for the domain matchup. Anyway, that is it for this weekend. Again, if you're playing Standard, I'm sure that this format is super fun right now. I really hope I can play this format in paper. There's only one, I mean, around my area, there's only one RCQ, and unfortunately it'll happen when I'm in Chicago, so I really hope that I can get to play at least one in late February or March, but if you can, definitely give this format a shot, because it does sound very fun and diverse. Thank you for watching this video, of course, and yeah, stay tuned on the channel for more content, usually around Magic Online, usually around Modern, sometimes Pauper, Legacy, and more. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of the week and Monday.